Have you ever walked into a room and felt that people listened to everyone, except you? You weren't rude, you didn't do anything obviously wrong, but something about your presence didn't hold their attention. Disrespect doesn't always come in loud forms, it shows up in silence, in avoidance, in the quiet withdrawal of trust. And sometimes, we don't even realize it's us who caused it. Not everyone who disrespects you will say it out loud, but you'll feel it. You'll feel it in how they interrupt you, how they stop involving you, how they choose others over you. And often, it's not because they've changed, it's because you have unknowingly developed certain patterns that silently erode the respect they once had. The most dangerous thing isn't when people change, it's when your habits make them change how they see you. You might still be the same person on the surface, but repeated behaviors, small, unchecked habits, can gradually reshape how others perceive your worth. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's what makes it so hard to spot until it's too late. In this video, we'll uncover 6 subtle but destructive habits that might be causing people to lose respect for you, without you even realizing it. These aren't random pet peeves. They're deeply rooted behaviors that quietly sabotage relationships, reputation, and trust. Through raw personal stories and timeless wisdom from Stoic philosophy, we'll explore how to break these habits and build a presence that commands genuine respect, not through force, but through inner strength and integrity. Let's begin the journey. Habit 1. Gossiping, talking behind someone's back. Let's be honest. Gossiping is one of the most common social behaviors out there. Almost everyone has done it at some point. It's easy, it's tempting, and it can even feel entertaining in the moment. But make no mistake, gossip is not harmless. It's poison dressed as connection, and the more you feed it, the more it silently eats away at your integrity, your relationships, and ultimately, your character. I know this because I was once caught deep in the web of gossip. Back in college, it felt like a daily ritual. My friends and I would gather, and without even realizing it, the conversation would always drift toward dissecting someone else's life. It felt thrilling, like we were in on some secret no one else knew. It created a fake sense of closeness between us, like we were bonding over exclusive information. But underneath that surface was something darker: judgment, insecurity, and cruelty disguised as laughter. There's one story I'll never forget. Her name was Emily, not her real name, of course, but she was part of our circle. Emily was quiet, a little quirky, and never really fit in with the rest of the group. One day, someone found out she had a crush on a guy we all knew, someone people considered way out of her league. Instead of keeping it private, I shared it with the group. We laughed, we made jokes, and slowly, that secret spread beyond just us. I'll never forget the look on Emily's face when she found out. Her eyes didn't show anger. They showed betrayal, hurt, vulnerability. After that, she stopped coming around. Eventually, she disappeared from the group entirely. And while everyone else moved on, I carried that weight. I knew I had crossed a line that couldn't be undone. And yet, I didn't fully learn the lesson until it happened again, this time in the workplace. There was a coworker, John, who had always kept to himself. He worked hard, never caused problems. One day, someone quietly mentioned that John had been dealing with a serious health issue. It was supposed to stay confidential, but I still holding onto old habits, casually mentioned it during a conversation. I didn't think much of it until John found out. He didn't get angry. He simply looked me in the eyes and said, "I trusted you." That moment shattered me. Our professional relationship never recovered. And I didn't just lose his respect, I lost my own. Gossip isn't just talk. It's a mirror reflecting who you are when you think no one's watching. It reveals what you value: entertainment over empathy, cleverness over compassion. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Keep silence for the most part, and speak only when you must, and then briefly." This wasn't just advice on speech, it was a guide for character. Because when you speak of others carelessly, you're not just damaging them, you're diminishing yourself. What I've come to realize is that trust is one of the rarest currencies in life. And gossip is one of the quickest ways to go bankrupt. It creates invisible fractures in relationships. Even if people laugh with you when you gossip, they're also wondering, what does this person say about me when I'm not around? That doubt, once planted, grows fast. People start pulling away, not because of what you say directly to them, but because of what they fear you're saying behind their back. The Stoics believed in rising above small-minded behavior. Gossip is the opposite of strength. It doesn't require wisdom or courage. It only requires a weak impulse and the absence of self-restraint. But silence, choosing not to speak ill of someone, even when you could, takes power. It's a quiet power, but a powerful one nonetheless. When you withhold judgment, when you protect someone's dignity even in their absence, you reveal the kind of person others can trust, admire, and respect. In a world obsessed with drama, restraint is rare, and that rarity makes it powerful. The next time you're tempted to share something that isn't yours to tell, pause. Ask yourself, does this elevate anyone? Does it build trust or destroy it? Would I say this if the person were sitting next to me? Those questions have saved me from countless mistakes since. Gossip once made me feel clever, connected, even important, but now, I know better. Respect isn't built through words whispered in the dark. It's built in silence, in protection, in choosing integrity over impulse. And that's a habit worth keeping. Habit 2. Being unreliable. Losing respect one broken promise at a time. There's a silent contract in every relationship, personal or professional, that's built on one simple question: can I count on you? And the moment the answer becomes maybe, or worse, probably not, the respect begins to fade. You may be charming, talented, even well-intentioned, but if people can't rely on you, they won't respect you. Reliability isn't flashy. It doesn't demand attention, but its absence is loud and unforgettable. I've learned this the hard way. Years ago, I had a friend named Sarah, one of those rare people who always showed up for everyone. Her loyalty was quiet but unshakable. She planned her birthday party for weeks, excited to bring people together. She invited me early, counted on me to be there, and I promised, without hesitation. But when the day came, I got caught up in something else. Nothing urgent, nothing life-changing, just something I thought was more convenient. I didn't call, I didn't message, I simply didn't show. And when I finally reached out later that evening, her voice didn't carry anger, it carried disappointment. That's when it hit me. I hadn't just missed a party. I had let someone down who had always stood by me. After that, things changed. She stopped including me. Our conversations faded. And for the first time, I realized that trust doesn't need to be destroyed in a dramatic moment. It can dissolve quietly, one broken commitment at a time. But the lesson didn't stop there. Early in my career, I repeated the same mistake, just in a different setting. I had potential. People believed in me, but I kept saying yes to everything: projects, meetings, deadlines, without really thinking. I overcommitted constantly and underdelivered more times than I could count. I thought people would forgive it. I assumed my charisma could carry me through. But my manager didn't see it that way. During one performance review, she didn't sugarcoat it. "Your work is great when it actually gets done," she said, "but no one knows when, or if, they can count on you." That one sentence cut deeper than any criticism I'd heard before. Because she was right. Being unreliable isn't just about missing appointments or deadlines. It's about sending the message that other people's time, plans, and trust don't matter to you. Even if unintentionally, it tells them they are optional. And nothing kills respect faster than being treated as optional. Stoic philosophy teaches that integrity is the foundation of respect. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Your word should mean something. If you say you'll be there, be there. If you promise something, deliver it, or have the courage to communicate if you can't. And when you do fall short, own it. Don't excuse it. Don't vanish. Show people that their trust is valuable to you. Because once it's gone, it's almost impossible to win back. The truth is, reliability doesn't come from talent. It comes from discipline, from being honest with yourself about what you can handle, from choosing quality over quantity, and presence over promises. The strongest people I know aren't the ones who do the most. They're the ones who simply do what they said they would. Looking back, I wish I had realized earlier that respect isn't earned in grand moments. It's built in the quiet ones. In showing up when it's inconvenient. In texting back when it's easier to ignore. In finishing what you start, not perfectly, but reliably. The people who are remembered are the ones others know they can count on. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Reliability isn't a trait, it's a decision. One you make every single day. And when you choose it, you become the kind of person people trust, turn to, and ultimately, respect, not because you demanded it, but because you proved you were worth it. Habit 3. Interrupting others. Disrespect disguised as enthusiasm. At first glance, interrupting someone during a conversation might seem harmless, even enthusiastic. We think it shows engagement, passion, intelligence. After all, if we're jumping in, it must mean we care, right? But what many people fail to realize is that cutting someone off isn't just a slip in etiquette, it's a subtle act of dominance. It says, without needing to say it, "What I have to say is more important than what you're saying right now." That's not enthusiasm, that's ego wearing a friendly mask. For a long time, I didn't see it that way. I was the kind of person who always had something to add. Group discussions, debates, even casual conversations. I treated them like competitions. The faster I could get my point across, the smarter I believed I appeared. And for a while, no one said anything. People let it slide. They laughed it off. But one moment changed everything. It was during a team meeting early in my career. Ideas were flying, and I kept interjecting, cutting people off mid-sentence, offering my take before they even finished theirs. I thought I was contributing. But then my manager stopped the room. She looked straight at me and said, "You're not actually listening. You're just waiting for your turn to talk." The room went silent. That silence said more than her words ever could. But what struck even deeper happened afterward. A colleague pulled me aside and asked, "Do you realize how dismissive you sound? It's like you don't believe anyone else's input matters but your own." That moment hit me hard. Because I wasn't trying to be rude. I thought I was helping. But intention doesn't matter nearly as much as impact. And the impact was clear. I wasn't showing respect. I was stealing it. Another time, I was out at a bar with a group of close friends. One of them, someone who rarely opened up, began sharing something deeply personal about his struggles with anxiety. It was raw, vulnerable, real. Halfway through, I jumped in with my own experience, thinking it would make him feel understood. Instead, he paused, looked at me, and said, "Can I finish?" Just 3 words, but they echoed for hours after. What I thought was empathy turned into disruption. I hijacked a moment that wasn't mine. Listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about holding space. It's about letting someone else take the floor and trusting that your voice will still matter after theirs has been heard. Interrupting, even with good intentions, sends the message that you're not truly present. You're planning your reply instead of absorbing their message. Stoic wisdom teaches that patience and humility are essential to meaningful dialogue. Seneca reminds us to be slow to speak and quick to listen, not because silence is safer, but because silence is strong. When you let someone finish, when you pause and actually receive their words, you offer something rare in today's world: respect without condition. Over time, I've worked to shift how I show up in conversations. I've learned to take a breath, to let others lead the thought, to let the moment be theirs. And something surprising happened. People began to open up more. They spoke longer. They looked me in the eyes more often. Because they felt heard, not interrupted, not corrected, not overshadowed, just heard. If you've ever wondered why people stop sharing things with you, why conversations with certain people feel distant, this might be one of the reasons. Constantly interrupting chips away at connection. It creates a gap between two people, one that only grows with each unfinished sentence. There's real power in becoming the person who listens completely, the one who holds their thoughts with discipline, who doesn't rush to be right, who makes others feel safe to speak. In a world that's constantly shouting, be the one who truly hears. Because those who listen earn trust, and those who respect others' voices naturally earn respect for their own. Habit 4. Complaining, the fastest way to push people away. There's something dangerously seductive about complaining. It gives us a sense of release, a way to vent our frustrations and feel temporarily validated. But while it may bring momentary comfort, constant complaining slowly chips away at how others see us and how they feel around us. No one wants to be around someone who drains the energy from every room they enter. No one is drawn to negativity that circles the same problem over and over without seeking a way forward. I used to be that person. At one point in my life, complaining became second nature. My job at the time felt overwhelming. I was underappreciated, overloaded, and frustrated by the chaos around me. Rather than facing the reality and finding actionable ways to make it better, I chose to complain, loudly, constantly, and to anyone who would listen. My coworkers heard it during breaks. My friends heard it over dinner. Even my family felt the weight of my never-ending rants. And for a while, I thought it was normal. I believed I was just being real. But gradually, I noticed something shift. People started responding less. They looked distracted when I spoke. Some stopped inviting me to conversations. The ones who stayed often gave me short, neutral replies, like they were trying to get through the interaction as fast as possible. The final wake-up call came when a close friend said it plainly. I care about you. But lately, being around you is exhausting. Everything feels heavy. That stung, but they were right. I had become the storm cloud no one wanted to stand under. What made this even clearer was an experience during a group project in college. We had one teammate, we'll call him Mike, who was a chronic complainer. Every meeting was the same. He'd grumble about the unfair workload, criticize the professor, and insist the project was pointless. His negativity spread like a virus. Everyone's motivation dropped. Instead of focusing on solutions, we found ourselves trying to just survive the process. That group, which started full of energy, finished in silence. Nobody wanted to work together again. And I remember thinking, wow, he really brought the whole thing down. That's when it hit me. I had been that person in so many other situations. Complaining doesn't make you relatable. It makes you difficult to be around. It signals to others that you're focused on problems, not solutions. It sends a message that you're more interested in being a victim than a contributor. And worst of all, it creates a cycle of helplessness that not only alienates others, but convinces you that you're stuck. When you're not, Stoic philosophy teaches a better way. It challenges us to focus on what we can control, and to accept, without bitterness, what we cannot. Life will always bring challenges, but your mindset is the one thing that can't be taken from you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Complaining is a choice to give that power away. Once I stopped fixating on what was wrong, things began to change. Instead of complaining about my job, I started identifying specific issues and addressing them directly. I had honest conversations. I made adjustments. And the more I focused on action, the more empowered I felt, and the more positively people responded to me. It wasn't about pretending everything was fine. It was about showing that I was willing to grow through the discomfort instead of wallowing in it. There's nothing admirable about being the loudest critic in the room. The people others truly respect are the ones who remain composed in chaos. The ones who acknowledge struggle without becoming consumed by it. When you shift from complaining to problem solving, your energy changes and others feel it. You become someone who uplifts instead of drags down. Someone people look to in tough moments. Someone worth listening to. If you've fallen into the habit of constant complaining, you're not alone, but you're not powerless either. Pay attention to your words. Track the tone you bring into each space. And ask yourself, are you building something, or just throwing weight around? Respect isn't given to those who grumble through life. It's earned by those who rise above, even when it's hard, and show others that strength isn't about being unshaken. It's about how you carry yourself when everything around you feels unstable. Habit 5. Always needing validation, the silent killer of confidence. There's a certain kind of desperation that doesn't scream, it whispers. It shows up in subtle ways, like constantly checking your phone for likes, posting every moment of your life to get approval, or asking others, "Was that okay?" after every decision you make. It's the need to be seen, liked, validated, again and again. And while the world might make it seem normal, even encouraged, this habit quietly erodes the very thing you need most if you want lasting respect: belief in yourself. People who constantly seek validation may not even realize they're doing it. They might think they're just trying to stay connected or make sure they're doing things right. But underneath the surface, it tells a different story, one of insecurity, of fear, of not trusting your own voice unless someone else says it's okay. And over time, this neediness becomes exhausting, not only for you, but for everyone around you. I saw this firsthand during a group project where one team member, let's call him Alex, had talent, intelligence, and potential. But every time we made progress, he'd pause and ask, "Is this good? Should I do it this way? Are you sure this is okay?" At first, we reassured him, we gave feedback, we tried to support him. But as the days passed, the constant second guessing wore us down. It felt like he didn't believe in himself. And that lack of confidence began to affect how much trust we placed in him. His need for approval, rather than making him seem thoughtful, made him seem unsure, and eventually, unreliable. There's a harsh truth most people don't want to hear. When you constantly look outward for approval, people stop looking at you as a leader. You become someone who follows the crowd, who adjusts based on the reactions of others, who never plants their feet firmly in their own values. And while it might seem harmless, it signals a lack of inner strength, and people respect strength, not dependence. The Stoics knew this long before social media ever existed. Marcus Aurelius said, "The good man is content to be good without anyone's approval." That line changed everything for me, because it taught me that real self-respect doesn't come from applause. It comes from quiet conviction, from doing the right thing, even if no one's watching. Especially when no one's watching. The need for validation is a trap, because it's never satisfied. Today you need one compliment. Tomorrow you'll need 10. And eventually, your confidence becomes a hostage to public opinion. The moment someone disapproves, or worse, says nothing, you spiral. You start questioning your worth. But here's the truth. Your worth was never meant to be defined by someone else's reaction. There's something magnetic about people who move with quiet certainty. They don't need to broadcast their every win. They don't ask for permission to shine. They just do the work, stay grounded, and let their results speak. And because they don't chase praise, they earn something far more valuable: respect. If you've found yourself chasing validation, don't beat yourself up. It's human to want connection, to seek reassurance. But there's a difference between sharing your life and performing it. Ask yourself, are you posting this because it means something to you? Or because you need someone to clap for you? Are you asking for feedback to grow, or to fill a void? Start practicing self-approval. Make decisions and stand by them. Create, speak, act, not to impress, but to express. When you free yourself from the need for constant validation, something powerful happens. You become whole. And wholeness doesn't need approval. It commands respect all on its own. You don't have to shout to be seen. You just have to stop looking around for permission to believe in who you already are. Habit 6. Playing the victim, the trap that silently destroys respect. There's a certain type of person who always has an explanation. Every failure, every setback, every missed opportunity, There's always someone else to blame. The boss was unfair. The team was unsupportive. The timing was wrong. Life, apparently, is always conspiring against them. At first, people may listen sympathetically, but over time, something shifts. The sympathy fades. The respect disappears. Because playing the victim isn't strength. It's surrender, disguised as a story. I've seen this behavior unfold up close. In one of my earlier jobs, there was a colleague, let's call him Ryan, who had talent. No doubt, but every time he underperformed, he had a reason that pointed away from himself. He blamed the system, the manager, the clients, even the office temperature. He spoke with conviction, almost convincing himself that he was simply misunderstood or mistreated. But what the rest of us saw was different. We saw someone who refused to evolve. Someone who was more interested in excuses than improvement. Eventually, people stopped involving him in critical projects. His name stopped coming up for new opportunities. Not because he lacked ability, but because he lacked accountability. And here's the truth. People who constantly cast themselves as victims slowly isolate themselves from the very support they crave. Why? Because true leaders, strong individuals, and those who carry real responsibility don't connect with that energy. They respect resilience, not rationalizations. They align with those who take ownership, not those who avoid it. The more someone externalizes blame, the more they push away the respect of those who matter. Stoic philosophy speaks directly to this mindset. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Life will hand all of us moments of pain, disappointment, and unfairness. That's inevitable. But the difference between the person who gains strength from hardship and the one who loses dignity through it is responsibility. The first asks, "What can I learn from this?" The second says, "Why is this happening to me?" That one question defines your path forward. I've had my share of setbacks. Projects that failed, friends who betrayed trust, opportunities that slipped through my fingers. And yes, it's tempting to play the victim. It feels safe. It protects the ego. But it also steals your power. Because the moment you convince yourself that you're helpless, you stop growing, you stop fighting, you stop becoming. The real strength lies in refusing to let pain define you. In taking even the worst days and using them as fuel. The most respected people I know aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who got knocked down and refused to stay there. They didn't broadcast their wounds, they used them to sharpen their perspective, deepen their character, and rise with more clarity. If you find yourself constantly justifying, explaining, defending, pause. Look at the pattern. Is life really that unfair? Or is there something you're avoiding within yourself? It takes courage to be honest about your own role in failure. But that's where the shift begins. That's where respect starts to return, not just from others, but from within. You were not meant to be a passive character in your own story. You are the author. You're the one who decides whether a setback becomes a chapter of excuses or a turning point of transformation. And that choice, every single time, is yours. Power doesn't come from blaming the world. It comes from standing tall, taking the hit, and saying, "I will rise from this, not because life is fair, but because I refuse to be less than who I'm meant to be." Respect doesn't go to those who feel sorry for themselves. It goes to those who reclaim their narrative. Be that person, not the victim, the architect. Conclusion. Reclaim your respect. One choice at a time. Respect is never granted automatically. It's earned through the quiet decisions we make daily. The 6 habits we've explored: gossiping, being unreliable, interrupting, complaining, craving validation, and playing the victim, might seem small on the surface. But each one slowly erodes the trust others place in us. They're like silent termites, weakening the foundation of our character until it all starts to collapse without warning. What's dangerous is not just the habits themselves, but how easy they are to justify. I was just being honest. I was stressed. I needed support. But beneath every excuse is a deeper truth. We always have a choice. And the way we choose to show up, especially when no one's watching, is what separates those who are respected from those who are merely tolerated. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful antidote. It teaches us to lead with self-control instead of emotion, to take ownership instead of blame, and to pursue virtue over approval. Marcus Aurelius didn't seek applause. Epictetus didn't need an audience. They lived by principles, not popularity. And that's what made their presence unshakable. If you want others to respect you, start by respecting yourself. Speak with purpose. Show up consistently. Listen with intention. And most of all, own your life. The moment you stop chasing validation and start embodying your values, everything changes. Respect will no longer be something you demand. It will be something you naturally command. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more timeless Stoic wisdom to strengthen your mind and elevate your life. Remember, respect begins with you, and it's built through who you choose to be every single day.